Afternoon or evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 36 of Swiss Army Sports. Today is actually January 20th in the Big 26, not the 19th. I'm your host, Will Spain, former long snapper for the Troy Trojans, Osby Governors, and partially Houston Cougars, joined by my side, former offensive lineman for the Hendrix College Warriors, Luke Wallman, man of electricity, and joined virtually former kicker for the Houston Christian Huskies and Troy Trojans, current nephew of Troy men's basketball head coach Scott Cross. It's Jace Cross, and we are diving into a very packed slate, and Kent State is up 4 with 56 seconds left. Man, that's a backbreaker. The agenda, a little divisional round recap from the NFL teams of the week, and teams that are weak from this divisional round. We're going to give you our college football national championship recap, along with our final college football top 25. College basketball picks recap with our Swiss Army Sports College Basketball Top 25. We'll talk about the scores from this weekend across, the big scores across college basketball. NBA and NHL recaps from the time off we had between episodes. MLB offseason talk, a little Premier League picks recap, and a look at the table. We give a recap of the Bahrain Darts Masters and the PDC. We finally had someone get a pick right in darts. Me. And we will also talk the Saudi Darts Masters that just happened and concluded today. And then the best of the weekend. So this is a packed episode. We've got a lot of questions to ask about the games. And we'll, especially on this first one, let's kick it off. We were all wrong. Buffalo went into Mile High and took the L in overtime against the Broncos. The big stories here are we've got three. One, Josh Allen isn't able to capitalize on Mahomes, et cetera, not being in the playoffs, and get bounced in the divisional round yet again. Bo Nix breaks his ankle. Second to last play of the game, will be out for the rest of the season. He's getting surgery in good old Birmingham, Alabama. And catch or interception. And so I want to lead this debate off, and I'm going to let Chase go first, then Luke, and I'll just kind of give my 2 cents at the end of it.
Well, honestly, watching that off rip, it looked completely like a catch. It looked like he made a football move going to the ground. And I understand you have to survive the ground, but man, I thought the rule used to be the tie goes to the wide receiver. And that's kind of where I'm a little bit lost on this. It looked like the play was over when he ripped it out. And I understand that, but you just can't make that call in that magnitude, especially as a pick when it looked like Cooks was already down. But you can't make excuses off of that because the Bills had a ton of opportunities to win this football game, which they didn't capitalize on, and Josh Allen was not at the standard that he holds himself to. So it shouldn't have really mattered, but I definitely think that was a catch.
Luke, and just give your take for this one, and then I'm going to come back with the other question we were just talking about.
This is where we differ. I think it was a pick because if you got to give credit to the ref, live time, that looked like an interception. They both go up and conjoin. They hit the ground. The Bronco guy comes out with the ball. As a ref, you can't say he caught that Cooks caught that from a receiving point. Like, you have to call interception on the field because he came away. It's not like Brandon Cooks went up, hit the ground, slid with the ball, then got it ripped out. They hit the ground, and he essentially ripped it out immediately. Like, I don't really think he ever had possession of it. You have to survive the ground, and, he dove for it. So when his knee hit and he had the ball, that's not a catch. He has to survive the full intent of the ground. So I don't think it's a catch.
Well, I'm going to rebuke real quick. So,
yeah, go ahead.
So the same thing happened with Devontae Adams in the Bears game.
Yeah, so this is – I was about to pivot to this. Yeah, I was about to pivot to this.
No.
I thought it was a catch. I thought both catches were catches. I don't understand how you can rule it one way in one game and one way a different way in another game, same weekend. Ironic that it happened so consecutively together. Luke argues that they're different plays.
They are completely different plays.
I don't think they're completely different,
yes,
though.
They are.
I think Cooks had possession of the ball when he came to the ground. I thought that was evident via video replay, and they stuck with the call on the field, which, that's fine if you're going to say it was the call on the field. We didn't have indisputable evidence. But, I mean, it really wasn't the facade I got from the referees coming out of that was that it was an interception. But then we have something similar happen in the game with the Rams and the Bears, and they give the ball to Devontae Adams. Again, two different, crews, so you can't possibly draw parallels. But I think what this is honestly begging us to ask is, what is a catch in the NFL? And I think that has gotten to be something that is so hard to define over the years.
Yeah, it has.
And it's honestly ridiculous. But you go ahead, Luke.
Yeah, no, the Devontae Adams thing, like Cooks dives and has to survive. Devontae Adams is on his 2 feet, so he's already established himself as a runner. And at that point, when he's getting tackled, he's going to the ground, his knee hits, he's down. So that's why it's a completely different play from a referee standpoint, in my opinion. So, I mean, I know, like I was going to throw, like I think Joe Burrow and a few other quarterbacks have said that was called the right way. I mean, obviously both sides of the coin. You have both people saying it's one thing and another thing. But I agree with your point. We don't know what a catch is. They're so inconsistent because officials in all sports are just awful.
Yeah.
And like, I know we're going to talk about this later, but the Miami game, officials terrible in their own right in that way, just from penalties. And then you have in the NFL, you don't know what a catch is. Dez caught it. Dez made a football move. Somehow that's a drop.
I'm going to die on that hill, too.
I am, too.
I mean, we got robbed a Tony Romo Super Bowl appearance.
We did.
We are going to overtime in Kent, Ohio, between Kent State and Miami.
We got robbed of a
Let's
Super
go.
Bowl win from Tony Romo. That was like, I will die on this hill. That was our year.
Yep.
Marco Murray, Des Bryant, Jason Witten.
We were so
phenomenal
good.
offensive line. We were stacked. God, okay.
No,
Yeah.
This is a fair crash out. This is a fair crash out.
I cried. That was my first Cowboy game. I cried.
Me too. I mean, that was probably, when you're coming around, like that was for us. That was like probably one of our first couple of years where we really watched the Cowboys and really got into it, and just to see that, that ending. I mean, we still don't know to this day. I mean, that was what? Dang, that's 10 years ago almost now.
Breaking news:
24.
Mike McDaniel to the Chargers.
I like that.
I like that too.
That's really good news. But
2014 or
anyways,
2014 playoffs.
So
no, that
11,
was the
11 years, 12 years. I mean,
wasn't it?
Yeah, 12 years. So I mean, for the last 12 years, we still don't really know what a catch is. The NFL redefines their rules every year. I think the fact that you call it one way on Saturday and call it different on Sunday, you can't do that. And it just looks bad on the league. But, these crews, they're doing the best they can. It's hard to call games and be an official. You see it in every sport. But you just really, at the end of the day, you don't want it to come down to a ref's decision on who wins a football game. And that's all I'll say on that. Like, any sport, you don't want it to affect the game. In soccer, basketball, you don't want the refs to be the reason you win or lose. And I feel like that is becoming more and more evident in every level of the sport. I mean, you can even talk about the national championship game last night. Miami was given a real opportunity to win that game because of the penalties.
Lack of penalties. Yeah.
Lack of penalties for Miami, and then just the egregious misses. Like in the first quarter, that hit on Mendoza it could have been called targeting. That guy could have been ejected. I mean, it was blatantly late. It should have at least been an unnecessary roughness, especially when you got a quarterback that comes out of there with his lip bleeding. So officials got to get held in check across all areas, but I'm missing the disconnect where you call it one way on Saturday and call it differently on Sunday. That just, that just rubs me the wrong way.
But let's get into the actual football aspect of this game. It just really, for me, and this kind of was the case across, this entire NFL postseason, is turnovers.
Yeah.
Josh Allen didn't take care of the football. And I think one of the most detrimental plays was at the end of the first half when he was scrambling and fumbled. Yeah, this ended up being the difference in the game. I don't understand why we do that if you're Josh Allen.
He's got it out here. I mean, with it, like, what are you doing? Like, at least secure it. It was awful. I mean, I know he's trying to make a play, but why did he have the ball so far at that? Like that looked like stuff that we've seen from Josh Allen 4 years ago when he was having turnover issues, not how he's played over the last couple of years.
Totally agree. Go,
If
Luke.
if I'm Sean McDermott, I'm not doing that. You have no timeouts with what, 10 seconds left? 12 seconds left? I'm
Yeah, it
handing
was
it off
12
to James
seconds.
Cook, and I'm hoping for a home run, and then I'm going to the half. I'm not risking any sort of pick six, especially with how elite this Denver defense is. I'm not risking anything of a turnover like they eventually did. I mean, I'm kneeling it or I'm handing it off to James Cook, who I trust to try and run. I mean, it was a boneheaded call.
I agree.
I agree.
The Seahawks, I mean,
Oh,
this game was over
First
after the
quarter.
opening kickoff.
Yeah.
Rashid Shaheed took it back, set the tone. The Niners get absolutely obliterated in Seattle, 41-6.
Love to see it.
you do.
You do love to see it. One, I mean, yeah, this Seattle team is really damn good. But I think due to the injuries just caught up finally.
And finally, I agree. We knew it was going to happen over the course of this playoff run. I thought Kyle Shanahan maybe had one more, miracle in him. But when you're that injured going into, the divisional round and the championship weekend, I mean, you're going to lose at some point because all the teams left are really talented.
percent.
Mm-hmm.
Luke, what'd you take away from this game?
Yeah, I mean, I watched literally a quarter of it, and I'm like, this is rape. I'm not watching anymore. I mean, that Seattle defense is like levels of Legion of Boom. I mean,
100%.
it is one of the greatest defenses I have seen in my life. I mean, they turn you over an elite rate. They get after the quarterback. They play the pass. I think the Seattle team, I think the NFC is winning the Super Bowl this year. And I honestly think it might be the Seattle team just strictly because of their defense. It is insane.
I agree full heartedly. I mean, that defense is insanely athletic. Everywhere at every position. I mean, D tackle, D line, linebacker, corner safety. I mean, they are so athletic. And Mike McDonald. I don't think it's talked about enough for how good of a job he's done there in Seattle. But he has. I mean, he has built a phenomenal defense there. And I think the difference, because you could say the same thing about the Houston Texans with D'Amico Ryans, but the difference between Seattle and Houston is Seattle actually has competent quarterback play and a good running game. So this Seattle team, I really don't see many holes outside of maybe the quarterback position, but Sam Darnold, as long as he protects the football, this Seattle team should be able to beat Los Angeles next week.
Wholeheartedly agree, especially with the second half of that. And that was a great segue to, I mean, whatever the hell we watched from C.J. Stroud in New England. I mean, he had 4 interceptions in the first half. It was just an absolute abysmal performance by the Texans. And credit to the Patriots. I mean, you don't want to say they've gotten a path now to the Super Bowl, but I mean, now with Bo Nix out, I mean, this is starting to shape up really good for Vrabel's first year in the New England, turning a 3-14 team to a 14-3 team in the regular season and going on. And now you're probably going to be in San Francisco for the Super Bowl. I didn't think Drake made anything spectacular. He took care of the ball, though, made a really good throw to Stephon Diggs.
That throw to Booty at the end of the game too, where he one-handed
yeah.
it in the end zone. That was a good throw too.
Yes, it was.
And he was good on the ground. I will say he was pretty good with his legs as well. But that Texans defense, is elite, so they limited him for the most part.
100%. And then our final game, heartbreak in America. The Bears fall to LA in overtime 2017 after what I think could have been the greatest playoff play I may have ever seen in my lifetime live.
In any sport.
Yeah.
He literally rolled back out
20
to
yards.
the left, 20 yards at the 40-yard line, threw it up blind, and Cole Kmet got separation and scored to send it to overtime. It felt like destiny for Chicago.
It did. I don't know how he got separation. That's another thing. Like that corner, they really didn't give you a good angle. And I think they did that on purpose because it kind of looks like in one of the angles he shoves off, but in another one, it really doesn't look like he pushes him.
I think the defender really never looked for the ball.
Yeah.
I think he got lost.
But how do you get lost in that scenario though? That's like where I'm so torn. I don't know how it happened. It was
still insane though.
It was genie coming out of a bottle.
Which was very on par for Chicago's season. I'm going to miss this by one leg. Clemson lost to NC State. I mean, it was at one point I was like, I think it may just be meant for the Bears to win and go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It just felt like other forces were at play throughout this. It was insanity is honestly the only way I would
Insane.
describe it. Um, but credit to LA, man, got the job done. In very Chicago weather.
And
Great football weather.
The Bears bared too, which I thought that would be next game. DJ Moore did not run his route,
Yep.
which
He
made
stopped.
really no, because honestly, I thought that was all Williams. I thought the first two
Yep.
picks were on Williams, even though Leveland ran the wrong route. You don't throw that ball in double coverage. I did not think he played outside of like the fourth quarter, which he is known to be elite in. He did not play well enough. But like that last throw, DJ Moore, what are you
Sold
doing?
him.
That was the first guy they traded for in this like kind of rebuild, and you're going to do that. I mean, I can't believe he stopped running.
It's the same guy who's complained, all about not getting enough targets and not getting enough action his way. And I mean, you have a chance to go make a massive play, which would have sent them to the Super Bowl, and just can't come up with it. So I don't understand why you stop running in that situation. And I'm sure his teammates are probably asking the same type of questions.
Yeah, 100%.
I do want to say one thing though, because you know here in Houston, everybody loves to get on the CJ Stroud's the best quarterback in Texas, better than Dak. I want to just say that CJ Stroud's passer rating would have been higher if he spiked the ball on every single play than it was against the Patriots on Sunday.
I
So
saw that on Twitter. I'm like,
and
it's terrible.
I'm not like you can't compare him and Dak. Dak's just levels above, and I just wanted to put that out there because I'm tired of the hate Dak Prescott gets. Like he's a damn good quarterback, and if the Cowboys can build a defense, we could do something next year.
Yeah,
But
that's
Good.
it's a big if.
big if, massive if.
Yeah, some could say. uh, let's move on now.
Will is distracted from DraftKings.
Yeah, sorry. Guys. I don't want to give out picks yet.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk. I mean, we can just talk about these matchups. Does Jared Stidham have any?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
is this
Yes.
now the guys on part of my take? We're calling him stud him.
Dude.
And Stiddy and Coach,
Yeah.
Coach Payton refers to him as Stiddy. And I don't know if y'all remember this, but he was the Broncos' first free agency signing under Sean Payton.
Yeah.
Does Stiddy have any breath of a chance in this game? Go, Luke.
I think so because, I think Bo Nix is a slightly above average quarterback, in my opinion. I know y'all all think he's below average. If y'all's mind, he's below average. Can't really go any more below average. And that defense is so elite. Drake May has been a turnover machine these playoffs. Texans game, if Stroud even plays like remotely average, Texans probably win that football game because of how many times Drake May turned the ball over. Even against the Chargers, he turned it over. The Broncos have a legit shot because of that defense. That defense is super good. It's not Seahawk good, but it's damn good. So they're going to have a legit shot.
I do think their defense will have to literally carry them to a win here.
We've seen him do it before.
Yeah, we have. I mean, it's not like, and I'm going to go ahead and say this. I mean, I think, Bo Nix and Jared Stidham aren't like too big of a gap in levels of quarterback play. Y'all know I'm not the biggest Bo Nix guy. But I mean, Jared Stidham hadn't thrown a pass in the NFL since 2023. So yeah, but he did play for the Patriots. So that's
I thought it was like 2021 or something. I thought it was
be
way
longer.
longer.
Yeah.
Also, what better play caller for your first playoff start than Sean Payton?
True.
In all realism,
True.
he's one of the best play callers we've had in this game in the past 10 years. I'd take him in a heartbeat to lead my backup.
Yeah. Chase, what do you think about this Broncos Patriots game?
I think this is the Patriots game to lose. Now, Drake May has not held on to the football very well, but he has still made some good plays. This Patriots defense is very good. I think both defenses are playing at a high level. It comes down to who executes on offense more. I mean, I don't expect Denver to really push the ball down the field. I think they'll probably dink and dump and try to create. Just you don't want to turn the ball over, especially with the backup. I think the Patriots are going to probably be a little bit more explosive in the passing game, and it will come down to, who makes the fewer mistakes. I think this game will probably end up being a little bit more low scoring. But I think this is going to still be a great game. I think, both teams have a realistic shot of going to the Super Bowl, and both will feel like that they can get it done. So, and it's two outstanding head coaches. So I think, I don't think that there's as big of gap between Bo Nix and Jarrett Stidham, because we do have to realize, like, this was a QB battle, not this season, but the season before. And last season in 2024, like, Jarrett Stidham and Bo Nix were in a QB competition going into the 2024 season. So I don't think that the gap is as big as people are making it out to be. So I think this is still going to be a really good game, and we'll have to see how he plays, obviously. But I think it could be a really good game.
I agree. Let's pivot to the NFC. The Seahawks getting a home NFC Championship game. It's going to be a pretty electric atmosphere in Lumen Field. I mean, the question for this game is, obviously because we're not giving picks, can the Rams' offensive star power be enough in this game against such an elite? I think these teams are on par defensively. I think the Rams could be slightly worse on defense than Seattle, but with Jared Verse up front, I mean, they've been absolutely unbelievable.
Their front seven is elite.
It's elite. Now secondary, I think Seattle absolutely has in that bag. But I'm talking front eight here. I'm not 100% sure if the Rams aren't slightly better, especially with the way Eight's been playing, and it's been unbelievable on his ability to affect the quarterback. The weapons on Seattle are there, but, I would absolutely give the nod here to Stafford in terms of quarterback play. Best receiver, absolutely a toss-up between Nakua and Smith and Jibba, but you also have – yeah, I mean, it is. But you also have got Devontae Adams for the LA Rams. So can offense beat defense? I think is what it really comes down to. And, I mean, I just don't know if there's enough separating these two teams on offense to say that the Rams are, should win this football game. Luke, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the defense, like you said, they're on par. I agree with the front seven being on par. But the secondary for the Rams, Spurs secondary for Seattle is it's so far apart. I mean, it's going to be very interesting because I think Seattle's weapons, even though, which it is something to point out, Charbonnet's out.
So they don't have a two-headed monster in the backfield.
So it is very interesting how that's going to play out because Walker's going to get the bulk here, obviously. But I think the weapons for Seattle, which Seattle doesn't have any bad weapons by no means, are going to be able to compare to this very average secondary of the Rams and vice versa with this elite weaponry the Rams have versus this elite secondary the Seattle has. I think it's going to be a great game. If it's anything like the last time they played, it's going to be cinema.
Yeah, I think that these championship games have really good potential for some good watches when we're snowed in here.
Yeah.
Chase, what do you think about this Seahawks-Rams game?
I'm honestly really excited about it. The first time they played, the Rams got the better of the Seahawks. The second time they played at Lumen Field, that was the best game of the entire season. I mean, holy cow, that was a phenomenal game. I think, like Luke said, I mean, these teams are very even. Obviously what the Rams do really well, their passing, their air attack. That's, I would say, the Seahawks' strength on defense. The Seahawks over the last couple of weeks have really ran the ball well with Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet. Charbonnet being out, I think that Rams front seven probably negates it. Landman, their linebacker for the Rams,
he's been playing unbelievable
everywhere on the field. That dude's a dog. So, I mean, we'll have to see what happens. I think it's going to be a really tight game, high scoring, high energy. Puka absolutely went off last time these two teams played. I think Devontae Adams will have a big game as well. I think Smith and Jigba is going to go off again. I think this is going to be one of these championship games that we talk about for years to come. I am really, really excited for this game. But, we'll obviously have to get to our picks in the next episode. But, man, I don't think anybody's playing better football than Seattle right now.
Wholeheartedly agree. Interesting tidbit here, if you really think about it. The Rams, this is their third straight road game. This is the third different time zone and third different kind of weather they will be playing in each game. Does that catch up to LA in terms of, I mean, this is three different very long road trips and then a very much shorter one here in Seattle. But the travel has to accumulate at some point, especially for a team that Seattle had a bye and then essentially a second bye in the second half. I mean, they've really played half a game of real football. They have to be the pressure
Rams
team.
are battle tested though, so I mean, you could flip it both ways. I'm
I
sure
hope these
McVay will
teams
be
are
like,
battle
"Oh,
tested after this
we're
season.
battle
Though.
tested." So
And I think travel plays a factor in the NFL, but it's not nearly as big in
As college, yeah.
I think these guys are seasoned with the travel. I don't think it's really going to be a big issue. But another tidbit, I think the Rams have the cheapest defense in the whole NFL.
I did not know that. Wow.
It's like they're in the bottom 5.
You would have thought it'd been us.
Because Landman, no, I know. Landman, he's a vet minimum. They've got a bunch of vet minimum guys on that defense. So just a little,
Hey,
little
that's
tidbit.
a potential cap problem in the future.
Yeah, I know.
NFL teams of the week and teams of the week. We can get. I mean, we've basically covered this. My team of the week is Seattle because I had to choose someone different. Well, I mean, hell, they deservedly so. Dropped 41. Again, a battered Niners team, but I mean, it wasn't even close. My team that is weak because I had to be different. And this is shout out to the electric plant that is situated next to their practice facility, emitting those rays. They are probably the reason why San Francisco is the most banged up team in this year's playoffs. You probably need to get that situation evaluated if you're the 49ers. But my team that is weak is San Francisco. It was only because, I mean, other than the Texans, really, and I would say the Texans put a bit more of a fight, but they also were way healthier and, but I mean, they just were non-existent in this game. It's one of these few, both college and NFL playoff games that I've just turned off.
Yeah.
Luke, your teams of the week and teams of the week.
We're going to go tidbit galore here. Oh God. So Christian McCaffrey and Kyle Juszczyk went to the Warriors game.
I know.
And Jimmy Butler tore his ACL.
They're cursed. They're cursed.
It spreads. But anyways, team of the week is the Rams. You go into Chicago in the frozen tundra, and you beat the Bears. I mean, in a game, I thought the Bears were going to easily win it overtime after they ended up turning them over or whatever how they got that first stop. And then my team of the week is I should have just put C.J. Stroud.
Team that is weak.
Sorry. It should have just been C.J. Stroud because I mean he looked like a special needs kid out there. I mean, it was very bad. So Texans, your defense played great. C.J. Stroud, I don't know why they didn't go to Davis Mills, but Texans, you're weak.
Chase.
Davis Mills actually didn't travel. I think he was for some reason was having.
He was sick.
I don't know.
Seriously?
He was sick. Yeah, he didn't travel, so they didn't really have a backup option. Still, anything would have been better than CJ after that first half. But man, I mean, you talk about selling that defense because that defense still had a minute. So
yeah, they did.
I agree, 100%. CJ Stroud, probably the most weak player this week. But for my team of the week, I actually have the Patriots. Anytime you can turn over a quarterback 4 times, get 4 picks, and then force a fumble, 5 turnovers on defense, that's phenomenal. Drake May played well enough. And they're, after being 3-14 last season, you are a game away from potentially being in the Super Bowl. That is one of the quickest rebuilds. I mean, coming off, that dynasty, we're like, oh, the Patriots are going to be bad for a while, and they're already right back in it. So, I mean, Pats fans are just blessed. But really, my team that is a week is the Bills. This was the Bills' year. This was Josh Allen's year. I mean, you look who's left in the playoffs. Josh Allen is easily the best quarterback left, and he just didn't come to play against Denver. And some of that can be said. Like, I know there's a lot of pressure on him to succeed there in Buffalo because he's the best guy left. But, man, you got to put together a better performance than that. I mean, it ultimately got his coach fired, and the Bills didn't make enough plays at the end of the day. I mean, it seemed like they had Bo Nix pretty much reined in, and some of these, some of the DPIs and some of the cornerback play was just a little bit suspect. But, this was the Bills' year. This was the year that they probably should have won something, and it just, it sucks. As somebody who admires Josh Allen, you kind of expected him to get it done, and to not even make the AFC Championship game, and it's definitely disappointing.
Yeah, it's a tough end to the McDermott era in Buffalo. Let's talk college. The College Football National Championship was last night as the Hoosiers did not cover. But national champions, 27-21 over the Miami Hurricanes. Our picks recap. Me, Luke, and Chase are all in Indiana. Michael went with the U. Miami gave up a better fight than I thought they would. I thought this was going to be a blowout for Indiana. All credit to Miami's defense. However, I think that absolutely partially is because Miami probably got away from like 15 penalties that were not called in that game. And it was probably one of the worst officiated national championship games in my recent memory, at least. But then again, I mean, this turnaround, Kurt Signetti at Indiana, I mean, from spelling the name of the school wrong on the jerseys in 2019 to being the national champion in 2026, 2 years into his tenure, do we have, I mean, talk about the game, and then do we have a dynasty on our hands? Luke.
Yeah, I want to, off the penalty stuff, I mean, you call that targeting on the first drive, Indiana scores.
Yep.
I mean, like, it baffles me because, like, you'll have some games that we watch that refs just want to take over. And it's like flag here, flag, and you'll have like 20 penalties. And then this game you had 6. And like Miami is the most undisciplined team in football versus the most disciplined team in football in Indiana. And like when you're a receiver for Indiana running down the sideline and the Miami corner is draped all over you, pulling your jersey, that's a flag.
No, these were drive alternating no calls.
I know. And I mean, it amazes me that some of these are so blatant because we saw multiple times where Miami, the face mask on 3rd and 15, the offsides, like they showed their undiscipline. And I just thought there'd be way more flags thrown. And I do think it's a dynasty because I think it's going to start. I don't think they'll go back to back. But
I think they'll be in the semifinals.
I think they'll be in the playoffs again. It's all going to depend on I don't know how their defense is going to look because their defense is very old. I think he'll retain both his coordinators like throughout most of his coaching career because like, have you all seen, like he asked, they come in and do their job. They don't have to stay from say 8 to 8.
Yeah.
If they get their job done in 5 hours, they can leave. Like there's no staying up till midnight with game plans. It's you come in, get your job and leave. And these guys have stuck with them since the FCS and D2 level. I think they're going to be a dynasty just because they're going to retain all their coordinators. And
Chase.
It's going to be
that's a hell of a take, Chase.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we'll start off with the game. I actually had Miami to cover the spread, even though I had Indiana winning. I thought this was going to be a tightly contested game. It actually,
elite box play.
I know it actually turned out to be the case. I just thought Fernando Mendoza was actually going to be the reason that Indiana won, and it turns out he was. So, I mean,
That play,
phenomenal play. I mean, that like I don't know why he reminds me of a better Tim Tebow for some reason.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I get from him. He's a better
100%.
passer of the football, but he has the same intangibles that made Tebow great. So I could talk all day about Mendoza. I could talk all day about Signetti too. Honestly, was not a huge fan of Signetti just because of his arrogance, but watching his post-game interview turned me into a fan. I mean, his story is phenomenal. This Indiana team going from it's a basketball school. They had no fans at their games 2 years ago. I mean, it is a crazy turnaround to consider that they're national champions now. On the take that if it's going to be a dynasty, I don't know. You expect the Blue Bloods to be back in it. They have a really tough conference with Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon. I think Michigan's going to be a lot better with Whittingham. I think Ohio State's going to bounce back. And then Oregon will obviously bounce back. And then we'll see what Penn State can do. That is still a tough conference. So I would pump the brakes on a dynasty. And especially the SEC hasn't won a natty in 3 years. I expect that to change here in the near future as well.
Yeah.
Just because of the amount of talent down there. But, Signetti's easily the best coach in college football right now. So I could see him definitely winning another one at Indiana. So we'll have to see. But I'd pump the brakes on the dynasty. But, I mean, just honestly, the best story that we've gotten in sports in 10, 15 years. I mean, this is a true underdog story. A lot of these guys, I mean, a lot of them had ties to Miami, and Miami didn't even recruit most of them. So even for that team, I mean, it is a true underdog story. They'll make a movie about it someday. I mean, it was phenomenal.
Luke, you want to say something?
And another reason I think there'll be a dynasty, Mark Cuban.
Yeah, man, he's feeding that program.
That is true. He is feeding a lot of money, but I mean, you
Like-
got to consider all these other programs that are feeding a ton of money too.
Well, I don't want to try and like say this the SEC, but a lot of these northern schools have the much larger, like outside of like
Donor pool.
Texas, they have the much larger donor pool.
You're good.
Okay. And yeah, and I think that's kind of what we've seen these past few years with this introduction of NIL is a bunch of these Big Ten teams, because like Michigan's got like the top 5 richest people in the world graduated from Michigan. Indiana's got Mark Cuban. Ohio State's got a bunch of big tech guys. Oregon's obviously got Nike. I mean, it's going to be very interesting because like Alabama, it's one of the lowest Power 4 NIL pools. And I don't know why some of these Southern schools have it. I think Texas is the exception, but it's going to be very interesting to see
And Texas
how.
A&M too.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how in these next few years NIL plays into it with some of these donors from these schools.
Yeah, and I think that's partially one of the reasons we're seeing a turnaround for Vanderbilt is because of
The NIL.
prestigious, graduates that are in your donor pool. I mean, you've got doctors, lawyers, very more. It's just a better degree in Alabama, and eventually that's going to pay off, right? So, anyway. Note on Whittingham to Michigan. I mean, he'll have a great first half of the season. Eventually, someone will get hurt and they'll fall off if he's anything like he was his tenure at Utah. But let's talk.
We'll see.
Number 1, Indiana, obviously. Duh. And obviously, it's voted on us. 2, Miami. 3, Ole Miss.
Hold on. Did you put Ole Miss at 3, Will?
I did not. And I actually, thank you for reminding me. I've got more people to call out as we go on this list. But,
Okay. Okay. Is it ain't me?
It ain't you.
Okay.
No, I had Oregon at 3 and Ole Miss at 4. I mean, Oregon lost to the eventual national champion. So, that's how I'm going to put it out there. 4, Oregon. 5, Georgia. 6, Ohio State. 7, Texas Tech. 8, Alabama. 9, Notre Dame. 10, Texas A&M. 11, Texas. Let's talk about this Texas ranking. The reason it's so high, even, is because one person on this panel ranked them 7th. Now, let me tell you exactly.
I can tell you why too.
No.
I can give you a full list of reasons.
We're just going to read real quick who he ranked Texas ahead of. Now, let's remember, Texas won the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl.
Hey, that's a big-time bowl win. It's a huge bowl win, Chase.
Talk to him.
Huge bowl win.
Against
Talk to him, Luke.
a Michigan team without a coach.
Hey, our coach.
He had Texas ranked ahead of Notre Dame. Fair. Fine. Okay, well, Texas Tech was in the playoff.
And Texas Tech didn't play anybody all year and got smacked by Oregon, who got smacked by Indiana. So, I mean, if you by
Texas
that
A&M,
logic,
who was in the playoff and lost on a last score by Miami.
who Texas beat head to head?
What was y'all's record? I'm just curious.
Who Texas beat head to head? We had one less loss than Texas
Alabama,
A&M. They didn't play
who was
anybody.
in the
They almost
playoff.
lost to South Carolina.
What a game.
You're not
What
going
a
to sit here
game.
and tell me that
The
you're gonna
playoff.
put Texas A&M ahead of Texas.
Alabama won a game in the playoff, Chase, and you had Texas
Against
ranked ahead.
Oklahoma, who was
Oh my
pissed
God.
poor.
This is-
Alabama's been poor all season, and then they got blown out 38-3 by Indiana. Alabama
That's
was
4
poor all
playoff
year.
teams ranked behind Texas on Chase's ballot.
Yeah, Chase, I sort of see where you're
Yes.
at, but in my eyes, if you make the playoff, like outside the group of 5, you're in that top 8 seed, no matter what the outcome is, because this is the elite of the elite.
I just thought that they put
And-
they put in 2 teams in Oklahoma and Alabama that did not deserve to be there, and you saw what happened when Texas A&M played a competent football team. I mean, that offense put up 3 points. They didn't even score a touchdown. Oklahoma was horrendous all through the back half of the season, snuck in the playoff, and I mean, you could say that was a good game, but both Alabama and Oklahoma, I just was not impressed with either one of those teams.
I was also
And then,
pretty certain I had this Texas logo upside down on this rankings.
yeah, somebody may have flipped that around, but I don't know who that was.
It was 12
But-
Oklahoma.
It might have been the producer.
Could have been the producer. 13 BYU. It wasn't. 14 Utah. 15 our Commodores. 16 Tulane. 17 Virginia. 18 USC, who lost to TCU, by the way. People who left TCU off their
I
ballot.
thought I had TCU on.
You did. 19 JMU. 20 Iowa. 21 Navy. 22 Michigan. 23 the Cougs. 24 UNT. And 25 Arizona. College basketball picks of the week. Boy, was it a rough week.
It's a rough week. Jeez.
A rough week.
Yeah, and of course, Chase has the best week of the rough week for us.
God, he's probably at first.
Yeah, I mean, probably is. Hell, he updated. I didn't. What a game in Palo Alto between the Stanford Cardinal and the North Carolina Tar Heels. I said on the pod, I went back and listened to it, that Corey was going to score 30 plus and Stanford was going to win this game. Corey had 36.
No, I thought it was 38. No,
36 had
36.
6 rebounds, or not 6 rebounds, but 9 assists and a
9
5-point win over North Carolina with Andrew Luck in the building. It was rocking at Palo Alto. They had probably the lamest college basketball court storming. It was very orderly, a lot of walking, but they did get out there.
Very Stanford-like.
It was very Stanford-like. Luke, you were with me,
I
with
was.
the Cardinal man.
My only pick.
Ooh, I did not notice that.
Yeah.
And the producer finally, just had a
Came back down to earth.
yeah. Chase, you lost out on this one, but that's all right. But you didn't on the next one, though. Let's talk about a huge Sunbelt matchup between Arkansas State and South Alabama. We were all on Ark State. Chase goes, we're wrong. Obviously, my thought process was they were going to split. Thank God they didn't, because they did lose to Troy. But in overtime, 91-87, South gets a huge Sunbelt win. Chase, what did you think of this one, and how does this impact the Sunbelt standings?
Well, it heavily impacts the Sunbelt standings.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if y'all saw, South has kind of they were middle of the pack until they beat Ark State. Huge win. Obviously, Ark State was at the top of the Sunbelt. I just didn't think, this South team plays a very, very good 2-3 zone that is very hard to break down. Obviously with my uncle's team, they've been averaging 80 to 90 points a game in conference play, and South held them to 60. Granted, we held South to 50, but I mean that's kind of what I was expecting from this game. It was a little bit higher scoring than I anticipated, but South ended up coming out with a win. And then in terms of Sunbelt standings, now obviously we're a Troy podcast here, so if Troy beats Georgia Southern on, I believe it's Saturday, then Troy will be 2 games up on everybody they play one team in the top half for the rest of the season. So, you're almost, knock on wood, unless injuries happen or something crazy happens, you're almost guaranteeing a regular season title for the Trojans. So that was massive that South beat Ark State, and then obviously Troy beating Ark State in the same week. 2 losses for the Red Wolves. So this is huge for Troy if you're a Troy Trojan fan.
Yeah, it is pretty nice seeing all the Monday bracket projections come out and them Troy Trojans looking at a 13 seed. We were all wrong in this MAC contest, although they fell in overtime today to Miami, Ohio. Kent State is starting to look a lot better as a huge home win against the Toledo Rockets, 87-84 in a classic MACtion thriller. We were all wrong.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
They did kind of the same thing they did today. They scored 52 points in the second half. That is
they
insane.
closed really well.
It is the same thing they did against Miami of Ohio today, where I think they had 56. I mean, if they're going to be scoring at this rate, Miami, Ohio could run this regular season, but tournament time, it's really going to get interesting.
Yeah, this is a Kent State team that gets hot at just as soon as the second half, they come out firing. And I really loved a good result on Saturday of the SEC as the Tennessee Volunteers fell to Kentucky. And you're talking about teams that have been having second half comebacks. First, they did it to LSU earlier in the week. Now they outscored Tennessee by 13 in the second half, 80-78 win for the Kentucky Wildcats over the then-ranked Tennessee Vols. Me and Chaser got this one right on the nose. Luke and Michael missed it.
Yeah, I still think both of these teams suck. I can't believe Kentucky came back. I mean, being down 20 at the half, especially to usually your Rick Barnes teams play really good defense and don't turn the ball over. Well, this team plays no defense and turns it over at an extreme rate. So it's really uncharacteristic of Rick Barnes. And I'm just still in shock. And also, shout out who tried to punch
Yeah, I
Oakland?
saw that.
Yeah, where he like called him a fat beep beep. Um, words I can't say because of things. Um, and yeah, and then he tried to attack Owe, which I thought was really funny because Tennessee sucks. So just
Aberdeen actually had a really good game in this one,
he
and he
did.
hadn't
He
played too
carried
well
them
this
off the
season.
bench.
So
Elon got a massive road CAA win against Hofstra 89-85. I said they had two dudes, and the two dudes came to play, but the dude for Hofstra actually outscored Cutthroat,
But
the dude for Elon, by 10, but they got off to such a slow
I
start.
know. I was
Such
about
a
to
slow
say,
start.
the Hofstra guy did not show up in that first half. I was watching this because I was bored, and I mean, he did not score. Like the Elon guy came out firing, and the Hofstra guy really didn't do anything until the second half. I think he only had like 7 or something at the half. I mean,
Damn, 26-point second
yeah,
half from
he
Bruce
went
Davis,
off
yeah.
in the second half. He did not do anything in the first though. So that was their main downfall.
And Chaser was right on the next one, as we all others were wrong. Florida got a huge road SEC win against Vanderbilt. This is a Vanderbilt team now that is down at the half against Arkansas. It's kind of coming crashing back down to earth here, and just how tough this SEC schedule is. It's just a loaded conference. Chase, I'll let you speak on this game since you got the win with the Florida Gators.
well, I mean, the SEC is absolutely loaded. It's a loaded basketball conference, and when you go from playing Texas to playing Florida, then Arkansas back to back to back, that is a brutal schedule. There's no easy games in the SEC unless you're playing maybe South Carolina or somebody like that. But there, I mean, I guess even LSU, but there are no easy games in the SEC. And this Florida team is really heating up right now. I saw it a couple weeks ago. I was overly impressed with how they played Tennessee. I think it was not last weekend, but the weekend before. And I mean, they're on a good little run right now. They just beat LSU here tonight. Xavier Lee is playing much better. They're starting to get some production out of Boogie Fland, and Hawk and Condon are looking great. Kind of figured this Florida team would come around. They're just too talented to not. I think they'll push for a 1 or 2 seed. I don't foresee them losing again anytime soon. They're playing some really good basketball right now.
Enough. And then our last game, three of us had it right. Luke had it wrong. North Dakota State got a big Summit League win at home against St. Thomas, the Tommies, 68-65, keeping North Dakota State perfect. Travion Carson had 16 points for the Bison, and the Tommies dude, Nolan Minnesale, only had 16 to match. 3-point win for the Bison. Luke, your guys fell just short, but it's a really good St. Thomas team, so I think there's not too much to take away from that, other than these are the top two teams in the conference.
No, for sure. I mean, leading at the half just did not score, and we're not actually as efficient. Their dude who had 16 was 4 of 12. I'm not going to try and pronounce his name, but he was 4 of 12 from the field, which
Yeah,
was
Minnesota.
extremely inefficient for St. Thomas, who usually does shoot the ball, especially the 2 ball, at a pretty good rate. So
That concludes our game picks. Here's an updated leaderboard. Michael's still in first. Chaser
Not last.
slowly behind. And me and Luke are starting to dog it out again for the bottom of the barrel. It was actually a big week for me in terms of gaining on you. But our top 25 in terms of summer sports for college basketball, and 1 stays Arizona, UConn up to 2. Michigan at 3. The Cougars, man, they're starting to look like they're in their prime Big 12 form, up to 4.
They looked phenomenal yesterday, by the way, too. Unbelievable.
Dismantled Arizona State.
I mean,
5. Go ahead.
I was going to say they've got a big matchup with Texas Tech this weekend. That's going to be a Big 12 decider. I mean, but
If Houston sweeps Tech, that's
man.
Duke at 5, Purdue at 6, the undefeated Nebraska Cornhuskers at 7, Gonzaga at 8, 9, Iowa State, rough week for the Cyclones, but they got back on the right track today. 10, Michigan State, 11, Illinois, 12, Texas Tech. You're speaking of that big matchup this weekend between Houston and Tech. 13, Vandy after a rough week for the Commodores. 14, Virginia. 15, BYU, just kind of hanging out in the middle of this top 25 the entire season. Not really doing anything as impressive as we thought they were going to be with that 5-star. Red Hot Florida team coming in at 16. Clemson got an overtime loss to NC State today. So they are 17 in this, but they will maybe be on the fringe next week. Bama staying steady at 18. 19, Georgia. Man, the Jayhawks have really started to impress me as of late. They topping hop into our top 25 at 20. The Billikens, can we get a check on that St. Louis score?
I was going to check on the Kansas score.
Yeah, and I don't think they've tipped yet.
They have.
Yeah, it's a late game. Late game
10, I
against
don't think.
Colorado. We'll get you an update on that St. Louis score.
They won by 4.
They won by 4 against Duquesne. Big road win for St. Louis today. Arkansas up at the half right now against Vandy at number 22. A faltering Louisville team at 23. Miami, Ohio stays perfect tonight, 20-0 at 24. North Carolina took some tough losses this week to Stanford and Cal. They fall to 25. Receiving votes, we had 3 points for Iowa, 2 points for Kentucky, and 2 points for Wisconsin.
Who's in Kentucky?
Chaser.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
25?
NBA recap. Yeah, I think he had him 24th, actually.
Okay.
24, yeah.
Yep. January 15th, the Magic got a win in Germany against the Memphis Grizzlies.
Totally expected. Their 2 best players are
They were German.
Yeah, they're German. This is me and Charlie's little conspiracy because the Grizz were up 20 something in this game. So no, it's serious. And I mean, they blew it, which is not very shocking, but we're blaming the Germans like usual.
Fair enough. John Morant's going to stay in Memphis. Crazy.
No, it's not that crazy. He's got the logo on his back.
Yeah, I saw that. Pistons get a home win against my Phoenix Suns, 108-105. Celtics road win against the Heat, 119-114. Thunder beat the Rockets by 20, 111-91. It's a very faltering Rockets team. Spurs, 119-101 over the Bucks, 144-122 in a very high-scoring affair in Dallas as they get the win over the Jazz. 126-113 Warriors over the Knicks. Blazers get the job done at home against a very weak Hawks team, 117-101. Hornets with a big road win against the Lakers on Thursday, 135-117. Pivoting now to Friday, where the Pacers got a 127-119 win over the Pelicans. Cavaliers 117 over 115 over the 76ers. The Nets get a home win against the Chicago Bulls, 112-109. Overtime game as the Clippers get a big road win against the Raptors, 121-117. Rockets get a 5-point win over the Red Hot Timberwolves, 110-105. Kings get a win against the Wizards, and they lit the beam, 128-115. Saturday now with the Maverick over the Jazz by 18. Celtics over the Hawks, 132-106. Pistons over the Pacers, 121-78. Suns with a big win in New York, sent down the Knicks, 106-99. Heat with a big win at home against the Thunder, 122-120 in a thriller. And the Spurs get on the right side of things, give the Rockets Timberwolves second loss in a row, 126-123. Warriors beat the Hornets. Nuggets beat the Wizards. Blazers give the Lakers yet another loss. And then on Sunday, the Lakers got right over the Raptors, 110-93. Blazers get a road win against the Kings. Hornets over Nuggets, which is not surprising with Jokic still out. Rockets over a very weak Pelicans team. Bulls get the Nets. And then the Grizzlies get their get back in London. That was very long-winded of me. Luke, over the stretch of the NBA games,
Good stuff,
what are you taking away?
I want to, obviously, Grizz fan, so I'm going to preface on this. John Morant looked phenomenal in his comeback game in London. Had some great celebrations, too. I don't know if y'all peeked that. He's rolling some dice. He's shooting a bazooka. I mean, just top-tier stuff. And me and Charlie were talking about this. Trade him to Milwaukee. You can't be a gangster in Milwaukee.
No, you cannot.
You just can't. You have to stay in Memphis, okay? But I'm impressed with this Hornets team. I think this young core is really good. I think Kneppel, it's going to be between him and his Duke teammate Cooper Flagg for this Rookie of the Year, in my opinion.
Yep.
I mean, Cooper's just going to have the upper hand because he's the only guy with Anthony Davis being out. But, I mean, Kneppel could shoot the lights out. He's very efficient from the field. And the Blazers, again, another team that's kind of looking to get into the play-in or in that range of the 9-10 spot, winning some games that was pretty impressive. And then Bam Adebayo went crazy against the Thunder in that game. I think he had 30, 10, and something else. And it was a great week for NBA. I mean, all-star teams coming up. LeBron, first time he's not a starter in 21 years. I mean, Bronny got 2 all-star votes, which is from players, which is insane to me. But NBA's kicking into full gear.
Absolutely it is. Chase, I'll let you go after this. I just got a quick thing. Big win for the Suns. Obviously, I'm a Suns fan. Jalen Green came back tonight, got 12 points in 20 minutes off the bench. D-Book only scored 6, and we beat the Sixers on the road 116-110. So, I mean, I think the future's looking pretty good for us. I do have to tip the cap to the Grizzlies. John Morant looked really good in his return to Memphis. Kind of got their mojo a little bit back there in London. I think that was a good reset for them. And then you have the Trailblazers, man, are really coming on as a team that could really threaten to be maybe on the upper echelon of those play-in teams. And, I mean, I think there's a real concern over the Lakers. I mean, dropping to the Blazers and Hornets. Yeah, granted, you beat the Raptors, but I mean, surely you're going to win one of these 3 games in a 4-day stretch. Chase, what'd you take away from this NBA games?
Obviously, I think something's not right in LA. They got to get that fixed quickly. I don't know if it's a LeBron thing, if it's a coaching thing, if they're just a little bit injured and they need Austin Reeves back, but definitely concerning if you're a Lakers fan. The Hornets are actually the team I wanted to highlight. Like, both you guys have. The Hornets are really coming on. LaMelo Ball is playing great, but they've got a really good roster down there. They've got, obviously Conk and Nipples playing well, but what was their third round pick? I mean, their third overall pick. What's his name? Brandon.
Ingram?
No.
Brandon Miller. Sorry.
Yeah, Brandon Miller has been balling.
He's
he has been playing some really good basketball down the stretch here. So I do think this Hornets team could get in the playoffs and maybe do a little something special. And besides that, I mean, the Pistons have been playing some really good basketball as of late. And, I always love to see the Thunder lose. So very grateful that the Heat were able to get it done. But, the NBA is in full form, and it's starting to, the playoffs, like the playoff race is starting to shape up, and I'm looking forward to All-Star Weekend. It's nice to get some fresh faces in there. I mean, obviously with Luka leading the vote, I think that's well-deserved over there in the West, but we'll see what happens over the next couple weeks.
So, Lakers, why they're kind of on a slide. Austin Reeves is hurt. I kind of forgot about that. So he is hurt right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. AR is hurt. Yeah. So, but still, you've got to do a little bit better than what they're doing.
100%. So,
Eastern Conference standings. Let's talk about them. I mean, or just brush over them. We just kind of gave a little bit of a breakdown of what we're seeing in these playoff races starting to take shape. I mean, I think the Detroit Pistons are kind of the team to beat right now in the East. But, I mean, who's really threatening for that second spot? Yeah, right now I think the Celtics are up there, but I do think it's going to be this Knicks team that's going to make the push for at least to threaten the Pistons at the 1 seed. Other than that, I mean, I love Chase's take. I would love to see this Hornets team in the play-in. I think the Hawks and Bulls will eventually fall out. So I think, the Hornets would potentially have a spot there to steal and maybe make an interesting run. They have a great young core. So, that's about it for the East for me. Other than, the bottom is so bad. It's a very top-heavy conference, not a lot of parity. The Nets, Wizards, and Pacers are abysmal. So, Luke, what'd you take away from the East?
I'm sounding the alarm if I'm the Cavs. You just came off last year. You're the number 1 seed. They've been getting blown out left and right. They have not looked like the same Cavs team from last year.
It's a great point.
They're the 7th seed. I thought they would be like middle of the road, like 5-4 seed, and you're looking at possibly being a 7 or 8. But that's a very big alarm sounding for me. So that's my takeaway.
Chaser.
Really what I take away from looking at this, I think this Eastern Conference is the weakest we've seen in a long time, a really long time. Obviously, injuries have contributed to that, but some teams like that are playing really bad basketball. Like Milwaukee is a team that, should probably have some more wins right now. Cleveland is heavily underperforming. Orlando was supposed to make a push this year, hasn't looked that great. And then the Knicks are 2-8 in their last 10. So I think they'll sort that out, but this is a very weak Eastern Conference when you're comparing it to the West, and Detroit is far and away the best team over here in the East.
100%. Let's move on now to the West. The Thunder are still at the top, but they are, starting to lose more games. The Spurs could give them a push, maybe. Suns, Lakers, Rockets, Timberwolves, all within a game of each other. And, the Suns just one night, so this will change. And then all within 3 games of the Nuggets. It's a really tight Western Conference. Not a lot of room for error, especially when, there is only 7 games between not even being in the play-in and out of the playoffs. I kind of see the Grizzlies are going to probably be able to make a push to be in the play-in. I think the team that just kind of falls out is the Clippers. But I mean, I don't know if there's much more room for movement outside of the playoffs and in terms of how these teams are playing right now. Luke, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think the Grizzlies are going to make a push. I think they are absolutely tanking with our injury report. I've kind of completely accepted the fact because you can't have a rolled ankle as Zach Edey does and be out for 12 weeks. It's like the technical term's like a stress reaction. It's not even a stress fracture. It's a stress reaction. Scottie Pippen Jr. is supposed to be back like a week ago. All these guys are supposed to be back, and they're just not playing. So I think we're in a tank. Take our draft picks, trade, make a push next year, hopefully, I guess. I don't know. I could see the Warriors faltering just because of the Jimmy Butler injury. I could see the
Oh yeah, I didn't even
Blazers end up taking that 8 seed. I don't know. It's going to be a dogfight for this number 10 between the Mavs. I don't think the Mavs. It's going to be really the Clippers and us because we still got enough to win if Ja plays a game. I think I'm confident if in Ja to lead us to at least be the 10 seed. So
Jace, what you take away from the West?
I think that these spots are going to keep flipping. Obviously, the Timberwolves are hot right now. The Nuggets have regressed a little bit. Rockets, Lakers, Suns are all going to be battling in there. I think from 3 to 7, I mean, they're going to rotate week in, week out till the end of the season. I do think the Thunder will retain that top spot, and the Spurs will probably sit there in second. But after them too, I mean, it's all pretty equal. In terms of getting in the playoffs, I do like Memphis to get in if Ja is healthy, but I think LA's playing a little bit better. Portland's playing better. I do think Golden State will sort of regress. Losing Jimmy Butler does definitely hurt them. So I don't know if Memphis gets in, but I think they will be, a fringe team, and I definitely don't see Mavericks, Jazz, Kings, or Pelicans making a push there at the end.
NHL. It's kind of like the NBA. The playoff races are starting to take shape. Sabres over the Canadians, Pens over the Flyers, Sharks over the Caps, Jackets over the Canucks, Bruins over the Kraken, Jets over the Wild, Flames over the Blackhawks, Mammoth over the Stars. Islanders, this was a great game between the Islanders and the Oilers, 1-0. Both goalies played unbelievable. And then the Golden Knights won in overtime against the Maple Leafs on Thursday. Friday was just the Red Wings over the Sharks, Canes over the Panthers, Blues over the Lightning in a shootout. The Preds hand the Colorado Avalanche their first regulation home loss in a 7-3 thrashing of Colorado. The Ducks get a win over the Kings on the road on shootout. And then on Saturday, the Wild beat the Sabres, Rangers beat the Flyers, Flames beat the Islanders, Mammoth beat the Kraken, Canadians beat the Sens in overtime, Hurricanes beat the Devils, Blue Jackets put the Pens in a shootout, Panthers beat the Capitals, Jets beat the Leafs in overtime, Bruins thrashed the Blackhawks on the road, the Oilers absolutely canned the Canucks 6-0. The Golden Knights gave its Preds right back to them 7-2. Ducks win in overtime 2-1. And then on Sunday, Lightning over Stars, giving the Stars yet another loss, a team that has really cooled off. Red Wings over the Senators. Oilers keep it going against the Blues. Hurricanes over the Sabres. Avalanche get right against the Capitals. Penguins beat the Kraken. Sharks over the Panthers. Wild over the Maple Leafs. Flyers over the Golden Knights, Blackhawks over the Jets, Devils over the Flames in overtime, Islanders over the Canucks, and the Ducks over the really bad New York Rangers. What did you take away from this span of hockey, Chase?
Honestly, I've been really impressed with the Golden Knights over the last couple weeks. They've been playing some really good hockey. Really, you're in the nitty-gritty part of the season where you're going to get some upsets, obviously, with them losing to the Flyers. But overall, I think the Golden Knights have been playing the best collectively out of, this entire bunch. What really kind of sticks out to me is that, the Anaheim Ducks seem to have kind of turned a corner after, we talked about their horrific slide. Seems like they're starting to kind of get back up on their feet, so we'll see what happens over the next couple weeks. And then, like we talked about with the Avalanche and the Stars, they're actually getting beat now, which was not the case earlier in the season. So definitely a little bit surprising there. But I don't know how long that'll continue. But the Ducks were probably my team over this last week that kind of stood out as like, they're turning the corner a little bit. And then, and their division, the Oilers are looking pretty good there too. So
no, the Oilers definitely got back on the right side of things. Really, I mean, the Islanders had a really good week, taking down both the Oilers and the Canucks on the road. Good road trip for them. I think just the story of the week is the Preds getting a huge road win over the Avalanche. It's a Predators team that has looked better over the
Huge
past
win.
month. And the Penguins, man, are just getting hot at the right time, almost it seems. They're going to make a real push in that Metropolitan Division as we go to the standings. The Tampa Bay Lightning are playing great hockey, as are the Detroit Red Wings. The Canadiens are keeping it close. It's really a race in the wild card sense in terms of the Atlantic Division. I think the top three are kind of going to stay that way. Boston may or flip with somebody. The Metro, I think, is wide open, except the Hurricanes are definitely going to be the one. I mean, we've only got 8 points separating second and sixth. So I mean, or seventh, excuse me, second and seventh, which I don't think the Blue Jackets will necessarily make a push, neither the Devils. But I mean, this is absolutely a 5 horse race in the Division Four for the lead. I mean, it's wide open here in the East in terms of playoff contention. What do you think, Chase?
I completely agree. I think Tampa Bay, Detroit, and Montreal will all. I think they'll be the auto qualifiers from the Atlantic. Carolina's looked pretty good over the last couple weeks, and then, like you said, the Islanders had one of their best weeks of hockey all season. The Penguins are also getting hot at the right time. What I really wanted to touch on is the Capitals have really, really started to slide. Um, I don't know how long the slide lasts. Usually, you go for poor stretches during the season, but they got to turn it around real quick because they're losing, vital ground in a wild card battle that is going to be pretty tight when with Boston and Buffalo being 4 points clear of them. So we'll have to see. They're still in the mix, but it's definitely a little concerning if I'm a Caps fan, especially as you want Ovi to go out on a high note.
100%. I think it's a very concerning stretch here from the Capitals. In the West, again, it's a very central heavy top of the leaderboard in the NHL as a whole. The Avalanche are still 11 points clear, even after the stumble with 3 games in hand of the Wild. Um, and I think the Wild and the Stars, I mean, it's kind of like the Atlantic in the Western Conference. I just think these are the three teams with Colorado definitely going to be at the head of the division in the Central. In terms of the Pacific auto qualifiers, I think Vegas and Edmonton are pretty set in stone. I think that third one is kind of up for grabs. And then everyone else from the Mammoth to the Preds, and then I would say the Sharks, Ducks, Kraken, Kings are all in the playoff mix in terms of either in the Pacific getting that third spot or the wild card in each, of the two divisions. So I think this is a super tight Western Conference race that I just don't know who it's going to really hold in the direction for or whose direction it'll go for in terms of those teams that aren't really set in stone of where they're going to be come playoff time. Chase, what do you think?
Well, we would have probably said a week ago that Anaheim was out of the mix, and then they go off and they win 4 games in a row last week. Huge week for the Ducks, putting them right back into playoff contention. I mean, you see how quickly it can turn around. I foresee Nashville and Utah being in the mix there at the end, and the Ducks will probably challenge. And I wouldn't be adverse to seeing maybe the Kraken or the Kings maybe get back into it, but definitely huge week in my opinion for the Anaheim Ducks.
It is. It's a big week for the Ducks. And just shout out to the Vancouver Canucks, man. It's hard to lose 11 games in a row, and you have done that. That's impressive. MLB offseason, it's been tough if you're a fan of anyone but the Dodgers, really. Uh, Kyle Tucker goes from the Chicago Cubs to the LA Dodgers. Bo Bichette, however, goes from the Blue Jays to the Mets. The Cardinals deal Arenado to the Diamondbacks for some prospects. And the big story out of Philadelphia, JT Realmuto staying in Philly. Luke, this is a little bit more up your alley. Talk to me about the MLB offseason moves.
All right, I want to talk about one thing. Yahoo Sports tweets out a few hours ago. It's almost 100% certainty that the MLB owners will push for a salary cap following Kyle Tucker's agreement with the Dodgers.
Wow.
So we might not have baseball.
Completely agree with it though. I mean, it's
to.
awful.
If you're not going to do a salary cap, you have to do some sort of, I don't want to say salary minimum, but I think you have to have.
You can't
can
defer
only
wages.
have-
That's the main thing. Is you can't be able to defer Shohei Ohtani most of
Yes.
Shohei Ohtani's contract
That.
to after he's playing. That's what I really have the biggest beef with. I mean, you want the players to get paid, but at the same time, there's got to be some there's got to be some cap to it. You can't defer the wages, and that's what
Yeah.
really gets me with this Dodgers team. And Kyle Tucker, I mean, this is a guy I already didn't like Houston Astro. That is, you don't want to compete, you don't want to be competitive. I mean, I heard that there was some other teams that offered him the same contract he got with the Dodgers, and he just went to the Dodgers for, there's no competitive juices there. I mean, I hate this as a Padres fan, but especially as somebody who loves watching playoff baseball, this is just killing the sport right now. It's killing the sport.
It is. It's terrible for baseball. Luke, go ahead.
So I got my one idea for the salary cap thing. Obviously, the deferring thing is stupid. But if you really want to like kind of balance it out, you have to make the small market teams pay. So I don't think they'll do this. But you can only have, say, 4 players over like 60 million a year or something stupid, to where you Dodgers can't get everybody. But that'll never happen. Also, it was the Blue Jays who offered him, I think, the same amount of money. It was just 2 longer years. The Mets offered him $5 million less. So that was the other team. But also the Dodgers are the favorite to get Freddie Peralta, who is going to just make that rotation elite. I mean, they are ruining baseball. Now, granted, I have this weird hunch they will somehow not win.
Oh,
I do too.
it
The
does
baseball
typically go
gods.
like that.
Because if you look at these Dodger teams in the past, outside of last year and the year before, where they have been loaded, they lose in the wild card or the divisional. I mean, like, they won. I'm not counting 2020. That's Mickey Mouse. But every other year where they've been in the World Series or the divisional, they've lost. So I'm not too worried yet, but we'll see how it all plays out. But with the Cardinals, only thing I'm happy, I'm sad, it's mixed emotions. I'm just a little angry about how much money they are still paying Arenado, Sonny Gray, and Wilson Contreras. I think Arenado, you had to pay that much money. There's no way you could get rid of him. I think you had a little bit of wiggle room with Contreras, especially with the ballpark they're sending it to, where he's going to hit a lot of doubles off that green monster. And Sonny Gray, who, granted, didn't have the greatest ERA, but his opponent batting average last year was like 180. So he doesn't allow hits. Just when he allows a hit, it's gone. So, and with the – sorry, I'm going on a spiel. With the Mets signing Bo Bichette, and I think they either signed or traded for Jorge Blanco. Bo Bichette is going to be playing third. Bo Bichette is one of the worst defenders in all of baseball. Yeah. Jorge Blanco is also one of the worst defenders in all of baseball, and they're putting him at first. Now, why they didn't just sign Pete Alonso again is beyond me, because you're putting, granted, both great bats. Elite bat in Bo Bichette, a great bat in Jorge Blanco, but Jorge Blanco's never played first. Well, he's always been a second baseman by trade, and you can't move the infield of, who's their second baseman? It's Lindor's at short, so you can't move him.
Isn't it Is it Nimmo?
Oh, it is Nimmo. Yeah, you can't move Nimmo, who's also on that Golden Glove tier. It's just some very questionable moves. It's because, I mean, I don't know. One of them's got to play
the lineup.
I know. It's going to be really interesting how they do this defensively, because up the middle, you're solid, but I feel like the hot corners, you got to have somebody who's got a glove, and I don't think they have either. So it's going to be very interesting.
That was a hell of an MLB tangent right there.
Yeah,
Luke. That was
sorry.
top tier. No, that's awesome. Match day 22 in the English Premier League, and Man United got a big 2-0 win over City. I was wrong. The rest of y'all were right. Congratulations, Chase. Chelsea 2-0 over Brentford. We had West Ham 2-1 over my Spurs. Tough week. Tough everything for Tottenham. Luke actually went demon mode on this.
Insane.
Insane. Leeds 1-0 over Fulham. He missed that one. Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. Sorry. Draw between Liverpool and Burnley 1-1. Sorry, I'm flipping pages. Chase, this is the first one I wanted to pick your mind on. I don't want to hear about Man United. This is a tough spot to drop points if you're Liverpool.
100%. I watched this game. Liverpool had most of the control in the first half, obviously getting a goal from Wirtz, but Burnley has sneakily played some really good football over the last couple of weeks. Let me pull up his name. I have it right here. Um, his name's Edwards. I got to pull up his first name though. Oh, where is it? 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 Marcus Edwards. That's his name. He has absolutely been cooking for Burnley. He cooked Manchester United when I watched him play. I was like, man, that kid is really good. But he has been dominant on the left wing for Burnley. They've really found something special with this kid. He is really talented and definitely cause for concern if you're a Liverpool fan because I mean Burnley is bottom of the table and you're trying to pull ahead of Manchester United and Chelsea sitting right there right behind you in that last Champions League spot. I mean it is definitely if I'm a Liverpool fan I'm definitely concerned because they're just not their attacking output just has not been what it should be and their defense I mean when you pay that much for that many attackers and you're just not going to address the defense as well as it should be. So they're giving up a lot of chances that they shouldn't. So that's my take on that. But then obviously talking about Manchester United, Man City, this is the best Manchester United performance I've seen in maybe the last 5-10 years. They played with the new interim manager coming in for his first game, Michael Carrick. They played almost perfect. I wouldn't have changed anything. They countered fast. They gave up one shot on target for the entire game against Manchester City, who scored the most goals in the Prem, just went out and bought more attackers in Semenyo. And they have just, I mean, Man City's been cooking over the last couple of weeks, and I mean, Manchester United just shut them down after a pretty rough spell of games getting knocked out of the FA Cup. Brian Mbeumo played great. Bruno Fernandes, the unsung hero of this team, has just been absolutely phenomenal. He played his ass off. I mean, it was a phenomenal game if you're a Manchester United fan. And they shut down Erling Haaland, which has been really hard to do, but they were able to do it. So
Yeah, 100%. I knew we were going to be talking about that one after I saw the score come across my feed. Um, Crystal Palace, man, it's been a tough stretch for them. They fall 2 to
very
1
tough
to
stretch.
Sunderland. And then this is where it starts to get funny for Luke. Dude picked a draw in Arsenal against Nottingham Forest and was 100% correct. 0-0. Shout out you, Luke.
I got
And
all
then
knowledge.
he was like, you know what? I think Wolves is going to get a point against Newcastle United. He gets that one right. He did not hit on the next one as Everton got a huge home win against Aston Villa 1-0. And then we had a draw on Monday Night Football 1-1 between Brighton and AFC Bournemouth.
You know, when I was picking these, I actually really contemplated drawing every single one of them. So,
Hey, you wouldn't have been too far off. That's crazy for your first Premier League picks to
No,
be
that's-
yeah.
that right
that
on
was,
most of them.
that was pretty great.
I know nothing about soccer. I just know what offsides is. So that's about it.
Hey,
Offsides and
you're ahead of
handball.
a lot of the
There we
rest of the population if you know offsides. So,
Jace, take us through a brief stint of these EPL standings.
okay, so obviously you've got Arsenal 7 points clear. Should have won against Forest. Huge missed opportunity to go 9 points clear of Manchester City. They've got a big game against Manchester United this weekend, which we've seen what United can do against these top teams. Definitely some cause for concern for Arsenal, considering they've drawn their last 2 matches, but they are unbeaten. They continue to get points, only 2 losses on the year. They have the best defense in the league easily. I mean, it's been phenomenal. Manchester City drops points, and I mean, it's definitely concerning. We don't want Arsenal to win the Prem, so Manchester City is going to have to pick up points in these next couple games, but they have not played their best over the last couple weeks. But they still are the highest scorers in the league. Aston Villa drops another game too when they could have hopped Manchester City in the table. Shocking defeat for Villa. I do think Villa is starting to show their true colors and will come a little bit back down to earth. Liverpool drawing again. That is 4 draws in their last 5 Premier League games. Obviously not losing, but you don't want to draw that many games. Manchester United continues a good run in the Prem, honestly. Their 3 draws against teams they should have probably beaten, but this has been a great run for Manchester United. They are not losing games like they did last season. Only 5, I think, 5 losses. Yeah, 5 losses so far on the season, considering where they were at last year. Only 7 points off where they finished the year last year. Definitely improvement. Chelsea gets a good win over Brentford, but I'm still a little skeptical about this Chelsea team. They do not look as dominant as they were in the Club World Cup this summer. Brentford finally loses to Chelsea. They will continued to drop off, but this Brentford team, especially after losing their best player to Manchester United, is really overperformed and has been great. Newcastle, shocking draw after their good run of form. I expect Newcastle to continue riding, and Sunderland gets a massive win. And then Everton staying in that top 10. Definitely shocking to see Everton here, but they've had a sneakily really good season.
Yeah, dude, it's been an exciting EPL. I just hope Arsenal doesn't win. That would be the worst
Oh,
for
me
everybody.
too. That would be the worst thing ever. So hopefully they'll drop points, which Arsenal does have a history of bottling it. So hopefully that happens. But Fulham, the other team that has, I mean, they will probably be a top half team this year. Brighton, always good for an upset, but they just don't really have it this year. And then Crystal Palace and Tottenham, two teams that I was actually really high on going into the season. I thought Crystal Palace was going to push for Europe again, be in the top half of the table, and I think this is a multitude of things. They've been ravaged by the transfer window. Obviously, losing their best center back Mark Gahey and Eberechi Eze, it has definitely hindered them a little bit. But still, this far down in the table, definitely shocking, and they've had a really poor run of form. And then Tottenham, at this point of the year, being only on 27 points with, how well they're doing over in the Champions League, it's just shocking to see them here at 14th after, they finished so low in the league last year. And then Bournemouth, a team that was top 5 at the beginning of the season, has completely plummeted. And Leeds has had a really good last couple of weeks, securing 3 draws, getting a big win. I think Leeds has kind of clinched getting out of that relegation zone. And then I really think, Nottingham Forest being 5 points out of the relegation zone, we pretty much have solidified our 3 teams that are going to be going down. But like I said, Wolves and Burnley have played some pretty good football over the last couple of weeks, so they could make it interesting here in the end.
I hope they make it interesting in the relegation battle. That's what I love so much about European football,
Yep.
especially in the English tier system. We had 2 Darts Masters events happen in the PDC. First, the Brain Darts Masters. Luke and Chase were wrong. Luke had John Van Veen, who ended up being the runner-up. Chase, Luke Littler, got bounced in the second round, but my pick, Michael Van Gerwen, got the win in the Kingdom of Bahrain. And then today, Luke Littler beat Michael Van Gerwen in the final of the Saudi Arabian Darts Masters in Riyadh. So, yeah, I mean, it was a week where we saw Littler get right after faltering in the Brain Darts Masters, and then Michael Van Gerwen finally get back on the board in terms of darts championships on TV. As we segment to our final thing, we're talking about best things that happened this weekend. I went down to Auburn, visited the missus. That was a pleasant time. Yeah, it was good. We watched these wild finishes in the NFL. They were absolute cinema. Had us out of our seats, and then dude, Michael Van Gerwen was my favorite darter ever since I've been following darts. I don't know if I've actually seen him win an event live. So I was pretty stoked about that on the car ride over, watching that happen. Luke, what happened this weekend?
Yeah, my number one is beer. I had about 15 beers on Saturday. I was feeling great. Wasn't like
Hell yeah.
sloppy drunk, but I was just like, I was there. So I went and played Minecraft. My villager died. I was pretty heated about that, but then college basketball. It's finally, we're out of like the full slate of college footballs on Saturday, and we get to finally dive into college basketball.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, Chase. I've got 3 TVs in my living room, technically 4. So all of them were on this weekend. It's awesome to watch.
It's the best time of year to
basketball.
have
I do
multiple
love going over to the
TVs.
Wallman house for a
And-
good Saturday.
Yeah, it is great. I'm so happy it's back. And then drunk football, this is not me being drunk. Football was just drunk in general this weekend. The Caleb Williams throw. I mean, that whole Denver ordeal. I mean, really just the Bears game in general, though. I mean, it was amazing. You had Mendoza dropping the F-bomb on national television.
That was awesome.
Which is awesome.
Elite. Didn't see it coming, but
I didn't either. He said it like a 5-year-old.
He was at
I
the strip
know.
club too last night too.
Oh, I love that man so much. He's a national treasure. But those are my top 3 from this weekend.
Chase, what happened this weekend?
Well, obviously, I woke up at 6:30 expecting to be disappointed by Manchester United, and they came out and balled on Saturday morning. Kicked off, honestly, what was a great day of sports for me. then got to watch Troy basketball absolutely dominate
On
Arkansas
ground?
State, who's been our rival over the last couple of years in person.
So yeah,
I
boots
just
on
got to
ground.
give a shout
Boots
out.
on ground.
Yeah, boots on ground. I just got to give a shout out to Thomas Dowd. I mean,
That is
I've watched
Dog. He's a
that is
dog.
a lot of players come through my uncle's programs through his time at UTA, TCU. He's coached Desmond Bain, and I will sit here and say this: I do not think I've seen a more talented, more devoted kid that wants to win more than Thomas Dowd. Like he's Troy basketball's Fernando Mendoza. Like I mean, he is an
Love it.
absolute machine and a dog. Troy basketball's putting up points, winning, playing really well. And then playoff football was just elite this weekend. This time of the year is there's so many narratives, stories. It's just been great. There's been so much drama, and then obviously we had a great end. Everybody thought it was going to be an absolute blowout for Indiana, and we got, I mean, a borderline classic, especially that fourth
Thank
quarter
God they didn't
in the
win.
national championship. So, I mean, outside of the Seahawks 49ers game, the NFL playoffs have been great. It was elite. So I've really been enjoying it and soaking it all in because it's a sad time of year. Like I love getting into college basketball, but I am gonna miss football. So it's starting to wind down. So I'm soaking up the last little bit of football.
100%. That'll do it for episode 36 here on Swiss Army Sports. This has been Will Spain, Luke Wallman, and Chase Cross. Until Thursday, when we give our preview for the championship games in the NFL, college basketball that weekend, talk a little NHL, NBA, and soccer as we always do. Have a good night.